Morning everyone, it's Tommy here, bright and early, are we all, for the Yeovil game? Full of excitement, are we all? While you're having your breakfast, I'm just getting ready to have a few hours kip ahead of the game today. So let's go back to Tuesday night where we made it through to the first round of the FA Cup proper. It's weird having to say that, but we got there in the end. We drew 2-2 on the night and won 4-3 on penalties. Obviously it was 1-1 after 90 minutes. We took the lead through Ben Tollett in the first half. Chester equalised. Chester then took the lead in extra time, but a late Fondop goal took it to penalties, and hopefully that shattered Chester's nerves because some of their penalties were appalling. Obviously Fondop missed it for us, but we scored the 4 and that was enough to see us get the win. A few people have been critical of the game. Yeah, we seem to struggle against a National League North side, a team below us. And yeah, we made hard work of it, as we always do. Got to remember, cup ties are totally different to league games. Yeah, we should be looking at beating these teams a lot better, they say. But at the end of the day, we got what we did. We did it the hard way, and if there's an option to win on penalties, so be it. Was it Unsworth's first win? Some say yes, some say it's no. We won. In the next round, that's all that matters. Yes, some people are going to get excited about it, especially some younger fans. It's Tuesday night away, past the bedtime, and we've won on penalties. What's wrong to get excited about winning on penalties? It's either glorious or failure. And I've seen more than enough failures on penalties, both with club and countries. It's nice to win for a change on penalties. So, hey, I did put on Twitter though, it was a sigh of relief. Yeah, we got out of jail, but we did what we need to do. Positives from that. We scored a very late equaliser. Now, yeah, we got late winners against Endersley and against Aldershot, but a couple of recent performances, again, I'll go back to Maidenhead. We haven't pushed on. We've sat back. We've let teams gone at us. Maybe now that bit of confidence installed in them will be the turning point. Some good saves by Maynard. Obviously, a few people have had a go at him, but let's go back to the Woking game. Before their second goal, he made 2 consecutive vital saves in the space of a couple of minutes. I'm not saying he's great, I'm not saying he's world class, but there is a keeper in him. Maybe some of his other errors let him down, his timekeeping, being slow spawn, not communicating, but there is a bit of a keeper in him, so hopefully this will boost his confidence. Also, what do we get? Wrexham away in the next round, a game which has now been selected for ITV. So it's a 12:30 kick-off on a Sunday. The train strikes on, so I've got to work out how I'm going to get there. To something maybe a plum draw. I'm actually surprised it's on TV. I thought maybe ESPN would have took it, maybe even Channel 4 Wales, but ITV have gone for it. We all know why that is. It's because of the Ryan Reynolds link, the money in there. For me personally, I love the magic of the cup, and I fully agree with what Colville said about a team like them deserving the money and the exposure more. I think a lot of fans feel like that, but hey, we're on TV, FA Cup games, we should get a bigger allocation of tickets, but it doesn't always work. I know a few Premier League teams get around that by saying, oh, we can't police it. Obviously, because of the punch-ups before and after the game last time, that may go against us. Anyway, once we know to go on sale, I'm sure we'll still pack that way end out and we'll go for it. But Wrexham, that's another time. Let's get back to the league again. Going back to penalties, I'm going to put a link in the comments. Look out on Twitter for Anders14, who got a great video of the penalties being took, scored, and all the saves by Maynard. I don't know if he's on Twitter, I've had a look, but he's worth a follow. They're good quality. I could learn a thing or two of them about editing videos, but have a watch of them. Brilliant. It's good footage. So obviously Yeovil are a familiar name to us. We played them numerous times during both our Football League spells. Obviously, they didn't name the Glovers because of glove making within the town. They played at Hush Park, which was originally an army campsite. They moved there in 1990. They used to play originally the Hush Athletics ground, which was famous because it had a sloping pitch. For many years, they were a non-league team who were famous for FA Cup upsets. They were the FA Trophy winners in 2003, and the season after in 2004, were crowned National League champions. In 2005, they were League 2 champions. In 2007, the year we reached the playoffs and got knocked out by Blackpool, Yeovil lost to Blackpool in the final. And one of the funny things was, in 2007, in the semi-finals, they lost the first leg at home 2-0 to Nottingham Forest, and then hammered them 5-2 away in the second leg, which was some feat. They finally got to the Championship in 2013, beating Brentford in the final. Again, that was some achievement for a club that size. And like Wycombe in recent years made you think anyone can get up there with the right set of players, the right manager. It was Gary Johnson who was the manager. He's been very successful there. He's there, Joe Royal, if you want to make a comparison. Sadly, they suffered back-to-back relegations from the Championship and then from League One. And in 2019, we relegated back to National League. The first season back in the National League, they did finish 4th, but since then, the highest to finish is 12th and haven't really looked like pushing on for the playoffs or promotion. At the moment, they're 1 point above us on an equal number of points of 13. And on Tuesday night, after a replay, we're knocked out the FA Cup by another nearby team, Taunton. So what am I expecting today? Well, judging by they've scored the same amount of goals as they've let 14 in, I can't see it being a high scoring game. I don't expect it to be a classic, probably the sort of game where they come up, if they score one, they'll throw 11 men behind the ball. But who's to say maybe prove wrong? You never know. They may do well to Stone and play alright, or Dorking. Either way, hopefully this is the game where Unsworth picks up his first league win, gets his first 3 points on the board, and the other night's result against Chester will now be the turning point. We can push on from that. It's the start of 3 away games with, obviously, we're at home, then we have 3 away games, which is Altrincham, Halifax, then Wrexham in the Cup. Boreham Wood has now been switched to December, which I'm pretty annoyed about. I changed my train tickets to the ground I was looking forward to. I've got a mate who watches Boreham Wood as well. But like with this now, I'm not going to make it. I did tweet him and he said if you have a match ticket, email them and they will refund it if you can't make it. So today, well, hopefully Fondop will keep his goal scoring form. From what I've heard, him and Porter together look decent early signs. Let's hope that's something that can turn into potential. We have signed a lad on loan from Bolton. I don't know anything really about him, but they must have seen something in that B team game the other day to take a punt on him, so hopefully it'll work out well. Shout out today, good mate of mine, John Miles Kennedy's been in hospital after the day the takeover announced. He had a fall. He's back on his feet. It was good to see him at the Joe Royal night the other night. Obviously, Carl Ridgway, whose uncle is Detroit Latics from America, he's over from Australia today, so it'd be good to see him, good to catch up with him. And if you do see him, go and say hello to him. He'll be in the fan bar from 2:15. I always love stories from overseas ticks, supporting him from that far and keeping that loyalty for him, flying the flag for us wherever they are. And other than much more to say to that is keep the faith, let's get the win, see in the terraces. I'm going to finish off with a little bit about the Andy Ritchie, Mike Milligan night. So you're all thinking, Tom O'D is once again talking about the Joe Royal years. So Andy Ritchie, as always, gives a great Q&A, and Mike Milligan was back in town up from Norwich. It was at the Fox and Pine and hosted by the legendary Tony Feely. I've heard Ritchie's stories many times before and I never get bored of them, and he always pulls something out the wool. One of my mates, Rick, made a point that he'd seen him at a gig and he was talking briefly about his love of heavy metal music. Obviously, Milligan made some good stories, some good points. One of them, he talked about the famous 7-0 win against Scarborough. Now, Scarborough knocked Chelsea out the previous round. They're going on Oldham, this, Oldham, that. Joe Royal didn't give him a team talk. Milligan said he went into that dressing room and pinned up on the wall a load of newspaper headlines and basically showed them what had been said. The rest is history. We went out and let our football do the talking on the pitch. Another thing Milligan pointed out, I said to him, obviously, was there any games like that at Oldham ever at all got arrogant or were cocky? And he said no. He always said that he was always fired up. Didn't matter who they played, to go out and win that game. It didn't bother him. Which was interesting because I was in my first ever defeat. I saw Oldham lose. It was Hull City, who were bottom of the table. I don't think had won away all season. I still couldn't go but think, how did a team bottom of the table beat Oldham, who were top at the time? Obviously now it's coming on. He made a point, Milligan, that to start with, basically, he wasn't on much money at all. And back then, obviously, people said it's hard times for clubs now. It was really desperate, really penny pinching, as you knew in the days, from the players we signed and the way we got a load on the cheap. And don't forget, Milligan was one half of the Yard Dogs with Nick Henry, the midfield partnership they developed was really good. But going back to what they were both saying, he was on £65 a week courtesy of a European grant because he'd gone from football to work as a labourer. Anyway, eventually, not long after he got his wages doubled, and the rest of his history, became one of our most successful players. We did end up selling him to Everton, but soon after, he came back. Once again, if you ever get to any of these Q&As hosted by Tony, or anyone that does them at the club, please go to them because the stories are magical and brilliant. And they remind me that was the time that we once did contests along the top. See you on the terraces. Have a good one. Keep the faith.